So we're gonna go through this list and we're gonna say the benefits of, like, would this be something that would come with owning a house or renting a house or renting an apartment? It doesn't have to be a house per se. And then I'm just gonna talk a little bit about some things to consider with renting. You might just wanna wait till after this lesson. It's not gonna take super long, so just make sure you don't miss this. Because this would be a question on the test or the final exam. One of those things that you have to give reasons for or explain. So more words than math on this one. Okay, so like leasing a vehicle or buying a vehicle, same sort of deal here. So someone else looks after the maintenance and repairs. Is that when you own a house or you rent a house? Renting. If you own it, it's all your responsibility. So that's a benefit to renting. Somebody else is going to take care of if the roof needs to be replaced or the windows need to be replaced. You can use your home as an asset to borrow money. Is that owning or renting?
Renting.
It's owning. Because you don't own it when you rent it, just like a car. If you lease a car, you don't own it. So the asset comes if you own the house. You do not need to have as much money saved up when you first do it. When you first go to buy or rent. Which one does that? You don't need as much money saved. Mm-hmm. What do you need when you're renting though? Anybody know? What do you need? You need your rent. Obviously, you got to pay your rent, but there's something else that a rental collects. They collect a damage deposit, right? They collect a damage deposit, usually equal to 1 month's rent. Just so you know. So this is a benefit to renting. You don't need as much money up front. You can renovate or decorate any way you like. Owning or renting? Owning, yeah. Some apartments won't let you paint. Some apartments will take part of your damage deposit if you put holes in the wall to hang pictures and stuff. You can sell your home. Is that if you're an owner or a renter?
Owner.
Owner. You can't sell it if you don't own it, right? So you have to be an owner in order to sell it. And you do not need to pay property taxes directly. Right, yeah. Who pays those property taxes? The person who owns your building, okay? Now, under the other category, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that may be a benefit. So another benefit to renting is if you're just gonna live somewhere temporarily. There we go. Is that I supposed to be there? Nah, we'll leave it. Okay, so we're gonna live somewhere temporarily. So let's say you're moving to Minnedosa to take a job. You're not sure if you're gonna like it in that town. It's a little bit smaller of a town. It's closer to Winnipeg than Thompson, but maybe you don't have any family there or friends there, so you're gonna try it out for a little while, but you're not sure. So you might not want to invest in buying a house. So that's a benefit to renting. That's a benefit to renting. Seems like there's lots of people in the hallway. Okay, some other things to consider with renting. So just some things. You guys are probably gonna rent an apartment at some point in your life, right? Hopefully. You're gonna move away from your family, you're gonna have your own place. Life's gonna be good. So these are some things that you wanna keep in mind when you're renting. Things to consider when renting. Okay, first thing I just talked about was you usually need a damage deposit. So usually it's a month's rent. So before you even, like, you sign the lease agreement, you're gonna rent it, you're probably gonna have to pay the first month's rent and the damage deposit. So really you're gonna pay 2 months' rent right up front. So keep that in mind, that there's probably gonna be a damage deposit that you have to pay up front. That's just the promise that you're gonna take care of the apartment and you're not gonna do any big damage to it beyond normal wear and tear. And if you do, the landlord doesn't have to give that damage deposit back to you. If you don't clean it well enough when you leave, like let's say you're done, you're moving out, if you don't clean it well enough, sometimes landlords won't give the damage deposit back to you because they have to hire somebody to clean it. So keep that in mind too. So that damage deposit is their guarantee you're going to take care of the apartment. Okay, another thing you have to consider is how long is the lease? How long is the lease? So when I talk about lease, that's how long you're agreeing to rent it for. Do you have to sign yearly? Monthly is another option. I don't know many places that do like a weekly rate or something like that. Usually that's like, you can get those in hotels, but not usually for a rental. You're usually signing a lease maybe for 1 year, and then you go month to month. But if you sign it for a year and you want to leave after 3 months, you still have to pay the year. That makes sense to everybody? So be careful what you're signing for, right? Like if you know that you're only going to be at this job temporarily, you want to make sure that your lease, like, is it monthly? Can I get out with a month's notice? Now, if I want to leave my job, let's say I'm done, I'm moving out of Thompson and I'm renting, and it's April, what's today? April 24th? And I want to not pay May's rent, you usually have to give 30 days notice. So keep that in mind as well. You got to think about what's included in your rent. So that might be your cable. Sometimes that gets included. Your cable, your water, your hydro. So maybe rent's cheaper at this one place, but it includes no utilities. But it's more expensive at another place, but it does include all your utilities. You got to keep that into account here as well. And we mentioned this before, you don't own it, so it can't build equity. You're just paying to borrow it. You're paying to live there. It's rental. You don't own it. You have no equity. And then the last thing, just something that's a positive that probably could go up on this list here, is that tenant's insurance is usually cheaper than house insurance. Anybody know why? What does house insurance include? It includes all the stuff inside your house, and it includes the building. Tenant's insurance is your stuff. House insurance is your stuff plus the building. So it makes sense that tenant's insurance, you're only insuring a small portion, like you're insuring your stuff. Okay, and that's it for rent versus buying. This is going to be a question on your test or exam. This is going to be like, what is a benefit? Name 2 benefits to renting versus owning a home. And you'll have to be able to do that. Same sort of thing with the lease versus buy question that was on that vehicle finance test you guys did. So that's coming up as well. That's it, that's all.